Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're looking into the 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students.
Oh, yeah, this one's really grabbed everyone's attention.
It really has. And we've got excerpts from the Wikipedia article on the case, and we've got some insights from a TV special.
Okay.
So think of yourselves as detectives with us today.
Right.
We're going to examine all this evidence to understand just what happened in this tragic case.
Yeah, piecing together, everything we can from official reports and media coverage, focusing on the victims,
Of course.
investigation, the suspect.
Right. So we're starting in Moscow, Idaho. Seemingly safe college town. The last murder there was 7 years prior.
Yeah, and 5 female students were sharing an off-campus house.
So, adding another layer of normalcy to it all?
Right. It wasn't a place that was used to violence like that.
Exactly.
So it amplified the shock, the fear
For sure.
that rippled through the community.
Now it's November 13th, 2022. 4 of those students, Ethan Chapin, 20 years old, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogan, both 21, and Xana Kernodle, who is 20, are found stabbed to death in their beds.
Oh, wow.
Likely while they were sleeping.
Horrible.
Mogan and Goncalves were best friends and were found together.
Okay.
Kernodle and Chapin were dating.
Right.
So, this really brings home the personal dimension of this whole tragedy.
It's important to remember that these weren't just names on a police report.
Right.
They were young people with lives, dreams,
Yeah.
friendships, relationships.
Absolutely. So let's rewind to the night of the murders. It was a Saturday, security footage, and a chilling piece of evidence, a Twitch live stream, help us kind of retrace the victim's final hours.
Oh, wow. That live stream footage is like a haunting premonition.
Right.
It gives us a glimpse into their lives just hours before it all happens.
So Ethan and Xana were at a party at the Sigma Chi fraternity house that night from 8 to 9 p.m. They returned to the house around 1:45 a.m. Kaylee and Madison were at a bar downtown called the Corner Club.
Okay.
Leaving around 1:30 a.m., they were caught on camera at a food truck around 1:41 a.m.
Okay.
Seemingly happy and carefree,
Right.
Then got a ride home with a private party.
The private party.
Yeah, so it wasn't an Uber or Lyft like they initially thought.
Interesting. So who was driving them? Could they have any connection to the case?
Right. So then things take a mysterious turn.
Okay.
Between 2:26 and 2:52 a.m., Kaylee made 7 unanswered calls to the same person. Her ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Madison then called the same number 3 times between 2:44 and 2:52 a.m.
So also unanswered.
Also unanswered.
Wow.
Police have said they don't believe the ex-boyfriend was involved.
Okay.
But those unanswered calls just add another layer to this whole puzzle.
Yeah, what were they trying to tell him?
Right.
Or was there something they were worried about?
It definitely suggests some level of urgency,
Yeah.
concern on their part.
For sure.
Then, adding to the mystery, a DoorDash order for Xana was delivered around 4 a.m.
Oh, wow. So just before the estimated time of the murders.
Yeah, which was between 4 and 4:25 a.m.
So was she even alive when that food got there?
Right.
It's crazy.
Now, 2 of the roommates survived this.
Okay.
And initially, their statements suggested that they were asleep on the first floor during the attacks.
Right.
Unaware of the horror unfolding, above them.
Yeah.
But the probable cause affidavit reveals something much more disturbing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One of the surviving roommates was actually asleep on the second floor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And heard some chilling things that night.
Like what?
So according to the affidavit, this roommate woke up to what sounded like Kaylee and her dog. Later, she heard a roommate say something like, "There's someone here."
Oh, my God.
Then crying from Xana's room.
Wow.
And she actually opened her door a few times.
Oh, no.
On the 3rd time, she saw a man dressed in black wearing a mask
Oh, my God.
walking towards her.
No way.
He walked right past her
Oh, my gosh.
and left through the sliding glass door.
I can't even imagine.
The affidavit describes the man as tall, athletic, but not muscular, with bushy eyebrows.
Okay, so it's a limited description, but
Right.
but it's a crucial piece of,
Yeah, for sure.
of the puzzle.
So this roommate and the other surviving roommate called friends over
Okay.
because they thought one of the victims on the second floor was unconscious.
Oh, so they didn't know
No.
what had happened.
It wasn't until 11:58 a.m., more than 7 hours after the estimated time of the murders, that someone at the house finally called 911.
Wow, that delay, that adds another layer of complexity.
Right.
It wasn't immediately clear what had happened.
Exactly.
And the gravity of the situation wasn't apparent right away.
The police arrived to find a horrifying scene.
Yeah.
All 4 victims were pronounced dead at the scene.
Oh, gosh.
There was no sign of forced entry and nothing seemed to be missing, which added to the initial confusion. The autopsies later revealed that all 4 victims were stabbed multiple times.
Oh, my gosh.
Likely with a large fixed blade knife.
Okay.
At least 1 victim had defensive wounds.
Oh, wow.
Indicating a struggle.
So sad.
The brutality of the attack is just hard to comprehend.
And the murder weapon,
Right.
the knife, was never found.
No, it wasn't.
So that's another layer to the investigation, making it even more difficult to reconstruct the exact sequence of events.
So we've established a timeline.
Right.
We've gained some insight into the victim's final hours. Learned about the surviving roommate's chilling encounter.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the investigation itself?
So the investigation was massive. The Moscow Police Department, the Idaho State Police, and the FBI were all involved.
Wow.
Receiving thousands of tips.
That's a lot.
Yeah, initially, information released to the public was very limited, leading to a lot of fear and frustration in the community.
Of course people were desperate for answers.
Yeah, that's understandable in those early stages.
Right.
Uncertainty can be even more frightening than knowing the truth.
For sure. So what were the investigators focusing on early on?
So early on, they explored the possibility that Kaylee had a stalker.
Okay.
Based on tips they received. But those claims couldn't be verified.
Oh, so nothing panned out there.
No.
Okay.
But the big break came when they discovered footage of a white Hyundai Elantra.
The car.
Yes.
This seemingly small detail became like a crucial piece of the puzzle.
It's amazing how sometimes the most mundane things can lead to significant breakthroughs.
It really is.
It's a reminder that, even in a world of advanced technology, sometimes those most basic investigative techniques still prove to be the most effective.
For sure.
And in this case, that white Elantra would lead them straight to the suspect.
I think our listeners are eager to learn more about that. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back to delve into the details surrounding Brian Kohberger.
Okay.
The man accused of these horrific crimes.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into the 2022 University of Idaho killings.
So last time we left off with investigators focusing on a white Hyundai Elantra.
Right, spotted near the crime scene.
It's almost unbelievable how a simple car can become such a pivotal piece of evidence.
Oh, it really is. It's a testament to the meticulous work of investigators.
Yeah.
And that car led them to Brian Christopher Kohberger.
Kohberger. The name that has become synonymous with this case.
Yeah.
Tell us more about him.
So at the time of the murders, Kohberger was a 28-year-old graduate student.
Okay.
Studying criminology at Washington State University.
Criminology. That's a chilling coincidence, to say the least.
It really is.
I mean, did his studies give him insights into criminal behavior?
Potentially.
Or investigative techniques?
It's a question investigators were undoubtedly exploring.
Right.
His education certainly adds another layer of complexity to this whole case.
For sure.
And his university was actually quite close to the crime scene.
How close?
Less than 8 miles away. And he had previously worked as a security guard.
Oh, wow.
For a school district.
So adding to the unsettling nature of his background.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like something out of a crime novel.
It really is.
So how did investigators connect him to the Elantra?
Well, after the police released information about the car to the public, hundreds of tips poured in.
Wow.
One of those tips led them to Kohberger.
Okay.
They were able to track his movements and found that he had driven the Elantra from Idaho to his parents' house in Pennsylvania for the holidays.
A cross-country road trip right after the murders.
Yeah.
Did anything unusual happen during that trip?
Interestingly enough, he was pulled over twice.
Really?
In Indiana for tailgating.
It makes you wonder what was going through his mind at that time.
Right.
Was he already feeling the pressure of the investigation?
I mean, you would think so.
Yeah.
But Kohberger continued his journey eastward.
Okay.
Meanwhile, investigators were building their case. They obtained his cell phone records and found his phone had been near the victim's house at least 12 times.
12 times?
This between June 2022 and the night of the murders.
That's not just passing through.
No.
What else did the phone records reveal?
So the data showed that Kohberger's phone stopped connecting to the network around 2:47 a.m. on the night of the murders.
Okay.
And then reconnected near Blaine, Idaho, south of Moscow, around 4:48 a.m.
So this placed him in the vicinity of the crime scene during the critical time frame.
Yeah.
So the evidence was stacking up.
Yeah.
But was there any physical evidence linking Kohberger to the crime scene?
Remember the knife sheath found at the crime scene?
What?
on Madison Mogen's bed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The police were able to extract DNA from that sheet.
And they ran it through a genealogy database.
Right.
This is where it gets really interesting for those who might not be familiar.
Yeah.
These databases allow people to upload their DNA profiles to find relatives and trace their ancestry.
It's fascinating how this technology is now playing a role in criminal investigations. It really is. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But one that raises
Sure.
important ethical and privacy questions.
Absolutely.
So in this case, the DNA from the sheath led investigators to a partial match with one of Kohberger's relatives.
So they were able to use DNA from a relative to track down a suspect.
Exactly.
That's incredible what happened next.
Well, to confirm the link,
Mm-hmm.
the police obtained trash
Go.
from Kohberger's parents' house in Pennsylvania
Okay.
and compared the DNA. It was a match.
Wow.
The DNA from the trash was consistent with the DNA on the sheath.
So they had their man.
They did.
It's amazing how even discarded trash can hold crucial evidence.
It really is.
Did they arrest him right away?
Before moving in, they put Kohberger under surveillance.
Okay.
They observed him wearing surgical gloves
Okay.
outside his parents' house,
Interesting.
disposing of trash bags in a neighbor's garbage can. They even noticed that he had meticulously cleaned his car.
Oh, wow. Inside and out.
Inside and out.
It sounds like he was trying to cover his tracks.
It certainly seems that way.
Yeah. Was he starting to panic as the net closed in?
It's certainly possible.
So on December 30th, 2022, an FBI SWAT team and Pennsylvania State Police arrested Kohberger at his parents' house.
Okay.
What was his reaction? Did he resist arrest?
He was found in the kitchen,
Okay.
dressed in shorts and a T-shirt.
Okay.
And strangely enough, he was wearing surgical gloves.
Surgical gloves again.
Yeah, and putting trash into separate Ziploc baggies.
That's an odd detail. What do you make of it?
It seems like he might have been trying to dispose of evidence.
Even as the police were closing in on him.
Yeah.
So they arrested him in Pennsylvania, but the murders happened in Idaho.
Right.
What happened next?
Kohberger was extradited back to Idaho to face charges.
Okay.
He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder
Wow.
and 1 count of felony burglary
Okay.
for breaking into the house with the intent to commit a felony.
That's a serious set of charges. What was Kohberger's plea?
He initially stood silent during his arraignment,
Okay.
which led the judge to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf.
Okay.
However, a grand jury later indicted him on all charges,
Uh-huh.
and the prosecution is seeking the death penalty.
The death penalty. Wow, this case has taken another serious turn.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the trial?
So the trial is scheduled to begin in August 2025
Okay.
in Boise, Idaho.
Okay.
After a change of venue was granted,
A change of venue. Why was that necessary?
the defense argued that Kohberger couldn't get a fair trial in Moscow
Right.
due to the extensive media coverage,
Of course.
public attention.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult to find an impartial jury in a town so deeply affected by these murders.
You're absolutely right. This case has captivated the nation.
Yeah.
And the impact on the Moscow community has been profound.
For sure.
What happened to the house where the murders took place?
It was donated to the University of Idaho,
Okay.
and about 10 months after the murders, it was demolished.
Demolished. That seems like a drastic step.
It was a very difficult decision,
Yeah.
but for many, it was a way to move forward
Oh, okay.
and erase the physical reminder of the tragedy.
I can understand that.
Yeah, the university plans to create a memorial garden on campus to honor the victims,
Okay.
and scholarships have been established in their name.
It's a beautiful way to remember them and ensure their legacy lives on.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the face of such darkness,
Yeah.
there is still hope and a commitment to honor their memory.
The university also awarded posthumous degrees to the 4 victims
Oh, wow.
at their spring commencement ceremonies in 2023.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was a touching gesture,
Yeah.
acknowledging that their lives were cut short,
Right.
but their achievements and potential will never be forgotten.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that these were real people
Yeah.
with hopes and dreams, and their loss is deeply felt by so many.
It really is.
This deep dive has been incredibly heavy, but it's important to reflect on this case and its broader implications. What are your thoughts on that?
This case has shaken people's sense of security.
Yeah.
You know, here we have a seemingly safe college town shattered by this act of violence.
Right.
It's a reminder that violence can happen anywhere, even in places we consider safe.
Sure. Yeah.
and it forces us to confront the unsettling reality
Yeah.
that darkness can lurk in unexpected places.
Absolutely.
The fact that the suspect, Brian Koberger, was a graduate student studying criminology
Right.
adds another layer of complexity
Yeah.
and raises questions about the motivations
Of course.
behind such horrific acts.
For sure. But amidst the grief and fear,
Yeah.
there has also been a remarkable display of resilience and
Yes.
community spirit.
Absolutely. The people of Moscow have shown incredible strength.
It's truly inspiring to see how communities can come together in the face of tragedy.
They organized vigils,
Yeah.
fundraisers, and memorials to support the victims' families and each other.
Yeah.
The university provided counseling and support services
It's great.
to students and staff.
Yeah.
The demolition of the house,
Mm-hmm.
while controversial,
Yeah.
was seen by some as a way to symbolically move forward.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah,
hope and healing are possible.
absolutely.
This case has sparked important conversations about campus safety,
Mm-hmm.
mental health,
Yeah.
and the need for greater awareness of the warning signs of potential violence.
Right. It's a call to action to be proactive in addressing these issues.
For sure.
We can't prevent all tragedies,
Right.
but we can work together to create safer environments
Absolutely.
and support those who are struggling.
I think it's a fitting time to conclude part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay.
Join us for the final part where we'll delve into the upcoming trial
Right.
and the lingering questions surrounding this case.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of the 2022 University of Idaho killings.
Yeah, it's been a heavy one.
It really has a profound sadness, but also,
Yeah.
a need to understand this whole thing. Absolutely.
So the trial is scheduled for August 2025,
Okay.
and the prosecution is seeking the death penalty.
Right.
What are some of the key aspects of this case that you think will be central to this trial?
Well, the prosecution's case is likely going to focus on the DNA evidence,
Right.
linking Koberger to the crime scene,
Of course.
his cell phone records, placing him near the house at the time of the murders,
Yeah.
and the eyewitness testimony of the surviving roommate
Right.
who saw that masked man leaving the house.
Now, the defense, on the other hand,
Yeah.
will likely try to challenge the reliability of that evidence
Right.
and raise reasonable doubt about Koberger's guilt.
Exactly. They might argue that the DNA evidence was contaminated
Okay.
or that the eyewitness identification was unreliable,
Yeah,
given the darkness and the stress of that whole situation.
of course.
They may also try to present an alibi for Koberger
Right.
or suggest an alternative theory of the crime.
This case has been in the spotlight from the very beginning, and public interest is incredibly high.
For sure.
How do you think the media attention will impact the trial?
Well, the extensive media coverage presents a unique challenge.
Yeah.
Finding an impartial jury is going to be crucial.
Of course, especially given the change of venue to Boise.
Right. The judge will likely take steps to minimize the influence of that media coverage on the jurors,
Right.
just to ensure a fair trial.
Speaking of media coverage,
Yeah.
there have been numerous documentaries, podcasts, news specials
Oh, yeah.
dedicated to this case.
It's everywhere.
It is. What role do you think the media plays in shaping public perception of these kinds of tragic events?
Well, the media plays a complex and often controversial role.
Right.
On one hand, it keeps the public informed
Yeah,
and can help generate leads in the investigation.
for sure.
But on the other hand, excessive or sensationalized coverage can lead to misinformation
Right.
and prejudice,
Yeah.
potentially impacting the fairness of the trial.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
It really is.
This case has also brought to light some important conversations about campus safety and security.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a stark reminder that even in seemingly safe environments, like college campuses,
Right.
vulnerabilities exist.
For sure.
Universities and colleges have a responsibility to ensure the safety of their students and staff.
Absolutely.
So this could involve improving lighting in public areas, increasing security patrols, providing self-defense training.
Exactly. It's also important to foster a culture of open communication
Yeah.
and encourage students to report any suspicious activity or concerns.
Right, beyond physical safety measures.
Yeah.
What about the emotional and mental well-being of students
Yeah.
in the wake of a tragedy like this?
That's a really important point. The University of Idaho, to their credit, offered counseling and support services to students and staff, recognizing the profound impact this event had on their community.
Yeah.
Creating a supportive environment where students feel comfortable seeking help is paramount.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
As we reflect on this case, What are your final thoughts for our listeners?
I think this tragedy reminds us that even in the face of darkness,
Yeah,
there is strength and resilience in the human spirit.
absolutely.
The community of Moscow came together to support each other,
Yeah.
to honor the victims,
Right.
and begin the healing process.
It's really amazing to see.
It is. It's also a reminder that we all have a role to play in creating safer communities,
Absolutely.
whether it's being vigilant about our surroundings
Mm-hmm.
or supporting initiatives that promote safety and well-being.
Those are powerful words to carry with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This deep dive into the 2022 University of Idaho killings has been heartbreaking,
Yeah,
but also illuminating.
for sure.
It's a reminder of the importance of seeking understanding, supporting each other,
Yeah,
and working together to create a world where tragedies like this are less likely to occur.
absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on this journey.